Well, if nothing good comes out of this, at least my family got the front row, so. Good morning, everyone. I am Sam Commodari, a proud and honored member of the class of 2016. Before I get too far into this, I wanted to address the elephant in the room. Am I the valedictorian, or just a speaker? Well, to be honest, I'm not quite sure myself. But for the next 10 minutes or so, let's just all agree that I'm the interim valedictorian. All right, glad we got that out of the way. Thanks to all the moms, dads, friends, teachers, and distinguished guests that came to Loyola this morning to watch me graduate. I'm sorry, I got a little ahead of myself there. I mean us, to watch us graduate. Classic mix-up, my apologies. I wanted to start off by saying what an honor it is to be standing up here and representing the class of 2016. I really just can't believe they chose me to give this big speech. There are just so many talented kids in this class. I'm truly humbled to be standing up here. But here I am, so let's get this thing started. Loyola Blakefield. I sat trying to figure out how to define such a special and unforgettable place. Defining Loyola Blakefield is similar to defining the word love. It simply can't be done. Every single graduating class would have a different story to tell, memory they'll never forget, and story that no matter how many times they tell it, never gets old. Doc Fitz in the class of 1968 may remember the senior smoking garden that sat outside Burke Hall. But don't worry, Doc Fitz never smoked because he was an athlete and needed to take care of his body. Maybe Mr. Brown in the class of 1979 will tell you about their success in swimming, and then that those 20 out of 21 championships aren't the only swimming championships that this school's ever won. Mr. Prody might mention a different dress code that lacked a tying sports code. Let's all take a moment to think about that. Well, it was fun thinking about it. Or lastly, maybe Senor Jenkins in the class of 2009 would remember the championship-winning football team. The class of 2016 can relate quite well to that. I'll tell you one thing. This class was just good at sports and extracurricular activities. Volleyball, lacrosse, cross-country, rugby, soccer, swimming, water polo, theater, and forensic teams were all championship and award-winning winners during our times at Loyola. Although the definitions will be different, there will be a prominent idea in each experience: brotherhood. Throughout the years, we have been gifted with the love and friendship of not only our families, but our classmates whom we encounter every day at Loyola. These are relationships that started from the first day of freshman orientation. Walking onto campus that day, we were like a fresh batch of Play-Doh, ready to be shaped, cut, and influenced in any way. I'd say colorless Play-Doh, though, because at this point in our journey, we had no real idea of the blue and gold colors that would run in our bloods and through our bones. That first day, we thought we were the bee's knees, when in reality, no proactive formula could have fixed the craters on our faces, and no amount of hair gel could have made mine or any other kid's pompadour look like Elvis Presley's. On that first day, all we knew was that we were embarking on something special. It was time to enter into the big leagues. We were already on that giant roller coaster ready to plunge into that 100-foot drop. There was no turning back now, and there was certainly no slowing down. Freshman year was a time of learning and growing as individuals and as a class. We had to learn the rules, the vibe of Loyola, and of course, if it was worth it to wait in the spicy buff line, or head into that anything other than spicy buff line. I like to think of us freshmen as toddlers that couldn't help but stick our fingers in the electrical socket. Sure, it was a bad idea, but just like our freshmen, we didn't know any better. The environment was so overwhelming that we had to explore, and if we made mistakes, we learned from them. Got a slap on the wrist, and spent our first Saturday morning with the infamous Mrs. Johnston. No one really knew what to expect, but from what everyone tells you about high school, it's going to be a pretty big deal. As Troy Gabriella once said on that fateful New Year's Eve, this could be the start of something new. It feels so right to be here with you. Whoa. And this is exactly how we felt that first day. We didn't know why, we didn't know how, we didn't know very much of anything really, but we felt that Loyola Blakefield was the place for us, and that these were the people that we would grow to know as our friends. As time went on, we became accustomed to the traditions and daily activities that go on during our daily lives at Loyola. Speaking of those daily traditions, I think it's time for a break in the action to insert an example. What day at Loyola will be complete without one? Never mind, I just got told that got cut from the program. All jokes aside, these traditions and memories are what make Loyola the place it is. They make Loyola special. They make us better than that school on the other side of Towson. Without them, it just wouldn't be Loyola. Freshman year came and went, and now it was time for the big sophomore year. Sophomore year is just a tough year in general. We weren't the new kids, we weren't the upperclassmen, we were just there. It reminds me of first grade. We were fairly settled in our new environment, but now the attention goes back to the kindergartners, and we still need our mommy and daddy more than we will ever admit. But we are left to figure it out on our own. Our class has kids already knowing where they were off to after Loyola, while some haven't even thought about college. Sophomore year may seem like a forgotten year, but it is in this time we were able to grow more independent and grow as a unit. I think the perfect song to describe junior year would be Jesus Take the Wheel by Carrie Underwood. I'm sure my classmates can agree with me when I say that junior year was pretty darn tough. If I could relate it to a time in someone's life, I would say it's equivalent to turning 50. It takes a lot of work to get there. The fatigue is really starting to settle in. The bones are breaking and the hearts are shaking. Junior year is known to have the toughest workload of all academic years, and it surely didn't disappoint. These grades would be the most important colleges, yet we also had to start the college search. Students in our grade began to attend Kairos, and the excitement to attend this infamous retreat was only growing with the number of crosses parading around campus. Therefore, then before we had time to blink, it was time to get our rings. Could it really be ending? Could it really be nearing the end of junior year? And are we really getting our class rings? The answer is yes. And the desire to live life like Adam Sandler and Click was only growing bigger. All we wanted to do was hit pause, rewind, or slow down, but darn, it just wasn't possible. And before we knew it, we were the big men on campus. Senior year. What else can be said about senior year other than this has been mine and my classmates' best year of our short life? There is no pleasure in life greater than senior year. We were finally the big men on campus. We were the Steph Currys of the NBA, the Babe Ruths of baseball, the old Tiger Woods of golf, and of course, the Serena Williams of the tennis world. We walked around campus with the wind in our fresh-cut hair, the pavement on our non-campus shoes, and the heat on our sun-kissed skin. We had the confidence of Ronda Rousey heading into that big fight versus Holly Holmes. That was, of course, until we got the enjoy it while it lasts, because next year you're right back at the bottom of the totem pole speech. Bam, kick to the face, knocked out. After being humbled and brought back to reality like we needed to be, we got right into the rigorous academic work of a Loyola dime. Life seemed to be just like any other year at Loyola, until we had to realize that this was the year of last. The last homecoming, the last Mass of the Holy Spirit, the last sports season with our pals, the last turkey bowl as a student, the last Christmas assembly with some fake Santa Claus that just wasn't the same as real old St. Nick. The last fire drill when we got to stand out in the rain and hope everything was just fine. The last day of excessive perspiration in our beloved sports coats. The last paper we had to turn in. The last day of school. And now, after all those lasts, comes our very big first. Today, graduation in a hollow and our shiny white tuxes and our fast-beating hearts. Excited to start the next chapter in our lives, but nervous to leave the place we have called home for the last 1.5, don't worry Pete, I didn't forget you, to 7 years of our lives. The last time we will ever be together as one big dysfunctional family. Of course there are cliques at every school, but what makes Loyola special is that the cliques clicked. We were able to recognize our strengths and weaknesses and form bonds and friendships because of that. Throughout all years at Loyola, we never could have seen this day coming so fast. Our Loyola education zoomed by us like one of those crazy motorcycles that speed past you on the highway and give you a mini heart attack. But the hardest part about leaving Loyola will be something deeper, something that can't be written on the chalkboard. We are going to have to leave behind a place that offers so much to us on a spiritual, emotional, and loving way. When we go to college, as hard as it may seem, we're going to miss our teachers telling us to take off our jackets, tuck in our shirts, and shave that dirty beard that just isn't really working for you. The teachers and faculty have done so much for us that we can never thank them enough. Between Don Zen at 310 with Doc Wise, gym class with Coach K, screaming battles with Mr. Bowler, a comforting smile from Miss Broder and Miss Herschel, how you doing, sir, from Doc Fitz, a late slip from Miss Brune, a snipe from Mr. Caldwell over the dress code from 30 feet down the hallway, a phone confiscation from any teacher roaming the hallways, or even a good old jug from Mr. Schlichtig. No matter the case with any teacher, we truly appreciate you helping to get to this point. To our families, we cannot begin to thank you enough. We appreciate every single minute thing you do for us. You've been with us through the good times and the bad times, always knowing when to step in and help us, or sit back and let us learn the hard way. You've done a good job. You did a job that had no handbook. You just did what you thought was right, and for that, we thank you again. 18 or so years ago, you were waking up at all hours of the night to comfort a screaming baby. And 18 years later, the roles are reversed as we now comfort you as we leave the nest, and you wake up in the middle of the night, wincing, and as you think about your little boy growing up and saying goodbye and see you soon. Either way, we will miss you next year, and we love you forever. So, class of 2016, I leave you with this closing thought. Here today, we sit as one amoeba cell. The amoeba cell comes from the Greek word to change. An amoeba cell can either start as one and separate into two, then into four, then into eight, and so on, or it simply stays as one and changes its shape to adapt. Today is our final day as one. Tomorrow, we begin to separate and head our different ways. Our identity as one changes as we head our different paths and take different tasks on. As we multiply, we spread the lessons we have been taught, the moments we have shared, and the memories we will never forget, always remembering the time we spent together as one at Loyola. So, my fellow amoeba cells, go live the fourth. Go follow the message of God. Go make new experiences. Go find new friends that mean just as much to you as the friends you met here. But most importantly, don't forget where you started, because that is the reason you are the person you are today, and the person you will become in the future. I love you all, and roll Don's roll.